Hi E10. This is a continuation of episode 8 and it's starting off within the connector rods, and the next one we're doing is the body to wing connector, which has three parts. Okay, it's got the rod that runs through the body to connect the wings, and then it's got the little rod that runs through it this way too, and then it's the same on the other side of the dragon. Okay, to draw this, we're going to draw it from the right plane. It's basically a cylinder that is 28.4 millimeters long, with these two holes extruded through it, and the ends are curved as well. So I'll show you how to draw this. So from the right plane. So in our connector rods folder, create a new part studio. Let's rename that straight away. Body to wing connector, and it's the central one. Enter. Now it says in the instructions to draw it from the right plane, and it's a diameter of 6. We want to extrude that. Make sure it's selected, switch to trimetric to see it happen. And we're going to make sure it's symmetrical because it makes the next step a lot easier. And its full length once done is 28.4. Enter. Tick. Now if we have a look back at our instructions, we have the cylinder so far. We have to draw these circles from here in. It says here diameter of 3, and these outside ones say radius of 3, which is diameter of 6. So this next step's important. We are going to create a new plane, and the entities we want to select is the front plane. We're going to offset it in the forwards direction. Yeah, 50 mil is fine. Doesn't even have to be that much. You just have to know what you put in. Okay. Look, I'll even make it 5. Enter. All right. Tick. Right. Sketch. And we want to make sure we select that new plane. Normalize it. And we're going to draw a line out to where our circle starts, which is going to be 11.2. Enter. Escape. And we can draw that circle in here. Click. 3. Enter. And go again. Click. 6. Enter. And we want a center point rectangle as well. Click, click, and it's going to be 6, enter, 6, enter. And we're going to trim, so M on the keyboard. And we're going to trim off these parts here. I'm just doing one end first to make sure it works. Okay, I'm going to switch to my trimetric view and just zoom back in. And I'm going to do an extrusion. That one, and that one. It's going to be a removal. And look, you kind of get that preview to see it's already going to work. The 25 is fine, so it needed to take up the 5 mil that we moved the plane, plus the 6 that was the diameter of this cylinder. So it just had to be more than 11, so that's fine. Tick. And that's perfectly done to see what we want to see. So if I switch to, front, there's that end there. From the back. From the base. And if we were to switch around and look at it from the top, there he is there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do the other end of it now. So sketch on that new plane, click N, zoom in, make life easier, line from the center point out 11.2, circle, click 3, enter, same center point, click 6, enter, and the center point rectangle. Click, click, 6, enter, 6, enter, and M for trim. And now we'll just trim everything on this side. Okay, extrusion, trimetric view. I always like to do that so I can see. So removal, 25 is fine, tick. Okay, and that's what we've got from the top view. Exactly as it is in the book. Okay, that one was fairly tricky. It did say there were more parts to this. The axle pivots that go through the holes on this one are simple. On this one are simple 3mm diameter cylinders that are 12mm long. Let's draw that up in my notebook. So diameter 3, so that they fit through those holes, and the length of 12. And just from knowing what the drawing looks like in the end, we'll draw that from the front view. I'll go back to trimetric and new Part Studio. I'm going to call this one, rename, body to wing, connector, axle. Sketch from the front, normalize. It said a diameter of 3, enter. I'll just zoom right in, and we want to extrude that. Trimetric, 12. Enter, tick, done. Okay, let's have a look back at our instructions. And the next thing we want to have a look at is the body control rod. So the body is supported on a 4mm rod cylinder that connects the body down to the main crankshaft follower. It is a simple extrusion of a 4mm diameter, so just noting that down, which should be 70mm long. So we're looking for a cylinder 70mm long, diameter 4. It will be attached with a fastened or solid mate into the holes in the top of the follower and bottom of the body. So body control rod. Okay, so that'll be our next Part Studio. So we're still within our connector rods, new Part Studio, rename, body, connector, rod, and it's running up and down, so we'll draw that from the top view. N, circle, click, click, diameter 4, enter, extrude that circle, zoom, 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 trimetric, and 70mm. Enter, tick. That one's done. Back to the instructions, and we're looking now at the body control rod guide block and pivot. Whew. Okay, so the body control guide block and pivot. The body control rod passes through the slot in the top of the base, so this big blue bit, enclosure, but it needs to be constrained so that it does not move around too much. In order to achieve this, it slides through a pivot rod, which looks like this round bit that runs through here, which is held in place by two guide blocks, these grey things here, one on either side of the slot as shown below. Okay, note the hole in the end of the pivot, which is on both ends, accommodates the wing control rods. Below is the dimension drawing of the guide block on the right and the pivot on the left. So this is the guide block and this is the pivot. So I think we'll draw this in two separate part studios. We'll give it a go. Okay. Let's draw the guide block first. New part studio. Guide block. And let's have a look at that drawing in some detail. Okay. So we're looking at the length of this block, which is 35 millimeters long. It doesn't say so, but I'm going to make a bold assumption that this circle is in the dead center. And from the top view, it tells me it passes the whole way through. Okay, because these hatch lines only appear on something that is flat. That would be a curved surface if it was cut in half. So it goes full depth. It's 10 millimeters wide, the block, from here, and the height of the block is 12. There's my standard dimensions, and the radius on here is 10, or diameter 20, and it tells me at least here that is up 6, so it is dead center that way. It just didn't tell me this way. We'll make the assumption it is. Okay, I think we'll draw this from the right plane, and that's the guide block. Okay, there's a few different ways you could draw this. Let's give it a go. So sketch from the right plane, normalize. We'll start with a center rectangle, click, and we're going 35 long, enter, 12 high, enter. I'll just zoom in. We can draw the circle here, click, click, diameter, was it 8? Yes. Whoops. 8, enter. And I'm going to extrude it there. Trimetric. And I'm going to do that for 10 millimeters. Okay. Tick. I'll just zoom in here. I've got to make this curve inward, so I'm going to do that as a fillet. Grab that line and that line. And the radius here is 10. Perfect. Tick. And that's the guide block done. Okay, let's jump back to our instructions. And this looks like the rod that is running up and down. I'm concerned they haven't given us a drawing for this one, which would be a diameter 8 cylinder. Slides through. the body control rod passes through this. Okay. We'll draw the pivot rod to start with. So this is the one. Okay, here it is here. Okay. Pivot rod. Now his diameter 8 cylinder to start with at a length of 24. There's in the center, so at 12 mil up, there is a diameter 4 circle. And it must pass the whole way through. They've not quite drawn that in this top view. There should be a sectional. There should be some hidden detail lines through this, showing that. We'll make the assumption. In the top, these little cutout slots. They're at least 6 mil deep. And the diameter from the top view shows that to be a diameter 1. Okay, we've got enough information there to draw that, and from the image, it's this part here. Okay, this is making sense now. I think this part was drawn in a previous part. Okay, cool. We're going to draw him from the right plane. Look at him that way. Okay. So new part studio. Right click. Rename. I'm going to call it the guide block. Pivot. Rod. Enter. And we're drawing that from the right hand plane. Okay, right. Normalize. Circle. Click, click. 8. Enter. And I'm going to extrude that straight away. And I'm going to do this as a symmetrical extrusion either side of the plane, and its total length will end up at 24. Enter, tick, trimetric, there he is. Okay. Now, I'm going to try something here. Sketch on that surface there, normalize, circle from that point there, click, enter 1, enter. I'm going to zoom right in. I want to extrude that, just that one, trimetric, zoom right in, make sure I've got just that. It's going to be a removal of 6 millimeters. Enter. Okay, and it's showing you there that that's the depth it's gone to. Tick. Okay. Now you can spin the drawing around and do it from this end, or if you're smart, before you did the extrusion, you could have selected that and done a mirror and extruded them both at the same time. But I'll just spin it around. So now I'm going to go sketch on that face there, click N, and I'll just quickly do it again. Click, click, 1, enter, extrusion, nope, trimetric, spin to that face there, that one, a removal of 6 millimeters. Enter, there he is, done. Okay, back to trimetric, and what we've got left to do now is the hole that runs through the center that way. Okay, so sketch from the front view, click N, and because we did this as a symmetrical extrusion, that's the center point there. So, my mistake, go back to trimetric, let's move the plane forward. Close that off. Okay, new plane, front plane, yep, that way. I'm just going to move it out 5 millimeters, that's plenty. Done. Sketch on the new plane, click N, now we're right. Circle from there, click, and we've got a diameter of 4. Enter. We're going to extrude that. Circle, trimetric, so you can see it. Removal. As long as it's more than the 5 plus the 8, the 13, you'll be right. Tick. Okay. And that should be the guide block pivot rod done. Okay, we did that, done. To a depth of 6, yep. Okay, the last few things we need. Phew, it's been a big drawing. To make, before assembling the automation, is to make 3 pivots to connect the head to the neck to the body, and the body to the tail. These are all 3 millimeter diameter cylinders. Just noting that down. 2 of which are 16 millimeters in length. So you need to draw one of them and use it twice to go through the body, and one is 10 millimeters long. So diameter 3, length of 10. Okay. Really doesn't want to tell us which plane to draw this from. To make all 3. The head to the neck. Let's just zoom straight back up. Which page are we on? 62. Whoa. Here we go. Okay, the head to the neck, so they're running through this way. So we'll draw them from the right plane. Okay, back to page 62. It's been a big document to work through. You've been going well. 62. There we go. Cool. And it looks like they've done those as a symmetrical extrusion, so we'll do the same. Alrighty. Last thing. New Part Studio. Rename. What did they want us to call these? Body axles. I'm going to call this body axle 16. And we're drawing these from the right plane. Diameter 3. Enter. Zoom, 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 zoom. Extrude. That one symmetrical. And this one's 16. Which is why I call it a body axle 16. Tick. Done. Create Part Studio. Whew, last one. Body axle 10. Enter. Sketch from the right plane. Normalize. Cylinder, circle. Click, click, diameter 3. Enter. Extrude. Zoom. Symmetrical. And 10. Done. Tick. I'll just check. Yeah, there we go. Done. That should be everything. Just double checking. Yep. And our next video, I will teach us how to assemble this mammoth drawing.